The suspect in a West Knoxville post office parking lot shooting is now in jail. He faces multiple charges after being treated and then released from UT Medical Center. Police say agents with the U.S. Marshal Service shot him yesterday after he attempted to run them over with his car. 39-year-old Stephen Covington then escaped. Police say authorities later caught up with him after a 6-hour search, and Covington does have a long criminal record that stretches back to the 90s. 10 News reporter Mark Salinger spoke with neighbors who had a shelter in place as this manhunt unfolded in their backyard. Mark?
Robin and John, at least 7 different law enforcement agencies searched for Covington yesterday. Finally, they found him hiding in the crawl space of a house near his own home.
East Millard Beats Road in West Knoxville is quiet once again.
This is where I grew up. There's nothing ever happening here.
Gone are the helicopters, the police officers, and the suspect everyone was searching for.
First thing that I noticed was helicopters was over my house, and so I came outside to look, and next thing I know there was 10 to 20 cops, U.S. Marshals with canines.
Rhonda Cox saw it all unfold as heavily armed officers searched every inch of her neighborhood, finally finding 39-year-old Larry Covington hiding in the crawl space of her next-door neighbor's home.
They were checking the woods and all the surrounding areas. All of the roads at the end of the street was blocked. No one could get to my house or leave my house.
Covington has a long criminal record, including multiple DUIs, drug charges, and weapons charges. U.S. Marshal Service agents tracked him to the post office on Wise Harbor Road Monday afternoon and attempted to serve a federal warrant for his arrest.
He had been sentenced to 48 months in prison for committing fraud against the IRS back in April. And when he did not surrender, there was a federal warrant issued for his arrest.
Police say Covington then resisted arrest and attempted to run over the officers with his car.
At that point, there was an agent that used his weapon, discharged his weapon, to not only save their lives, but the other agents' lives, as well as individuals in the parking lot.
Covington was injured in the shooting. Neighbors are just glad he's now behind bars.
It was crazy. We didn't know what was going on.
And police are not yet saying why Covington was at the post office or why the marshals chose to try to apprehend him there. Robin and John.
Mark Salinger with the update. Thank you.